I have written a number of books over the years that outline techniques from a tradition that I refer to as inner alchemy. I generally try to stay away from just writing about dogmatic beliefs. That is, I try to stay away from the dogma, a belief system, whether my own as an inner alchemist or anyone else's. And instead I try to focus as much as possible on technique, so that those that read my books can try the techniques that I write about and in that way, hopefully through their own successes, find out whether what I'm saying is true or not. These techniques tend to be things that many people find quite daunting or impossible, such as the ability to travel out of body and create magical servants that will do your bidding. Therefore, when I write about these things, there are times when those that are trying to do what others say is impossible run into major obstacles of a, in my opinion, psychological or psyche-based nature. When a person looks at this face-on, for the first time, as they are just beginning to engage in these practices, for example the ability to travel out of body, to astral travel, they can instantly believe that such techniques, such inner actions, are impossible, or if they are possible, they are only possible for a select few, for those that are the outliers, the genetically predisposed and the naturally talented. As another example, in discussing techniques that would allow a person to acquire great deals of knowledge through inner work and inner travel, I mentioned to one of my readers that such skills do require talent, in that in order to download this information that is available, in what could be called a different dimensional field, that person must master the ability to project into that dimension with certitude and exactness, and then be able to bring that information back and translate through that skill, that is, turn it into a linear and language-based set of information that can be used in this three-dimensional place, this earth, that we call the real world. Quite simply, it would be like trying to remember one of the many and complicated dreams that you have every night, and be able to get the full extent, the full knowledge, and experience of that dream, and turn that information into something that would be useful in what we would refer to as waking reality. You would think that this is easy, that remembering dreams is not a great task, but in fact it does require a great deal of talent and experience, because in actuality dreams are far more complex than many remember when they are back in waking reality, in that they usually involve what could best be termed depth, and instant and intense knowing, that is most difficult to translate into waking consciousness. It would be sort of like, after seeing a wonderful sight, one that completely envelops you in utter bliss and heightened experience, you have to then write an essay on what these feelings and this moment was all about, including the ability to try to express in words this seeming ability of this moment point to alter the very fabric of time itself. Such experiences, such inner experiences, hold within them a richness that is beyond linear and material conception. A human being can experience this depth and feel and understand it within themselves, but to then try to express those inner feelings, that inner knowing at that time, is very difficult. And indeed this is what our art, our poetry, tries to with great diligence and sometimes difficulty, express. Inner knowledge, and inner knowing, such as the ability to know the incredible things that can be discovered within dreams, within the context of those moment points experienced in those other dimensions, requires therefore that kind of mastery of ability. The ability to move a block of perception that holds within it an expanse that is beyond time and linear objectiveness, and turn it into something that is useful in this three-dimensional world. As such, I mentioned to this person that such ability takes time, that indeed such ability can be compared to what a person might go through to become a PhD. It is something that is quite possible certainly, but it is just something that takes time and the focus of attention. Upon hearing that such a mastery is required, this person was quite disappointed, thinking that, as I mentioned earlier, such a task is nearly impossible, and is only available really to a select few, and to a talented few. I feel that my last response to this person is one that is applicable in many circumstances, and this video is really created to share this response with you. My final response is as follows. Your conclusions are only applicable if you believe that something like astral travel, for example, is an oddity. And here we come to a most important point, and that is what you believe. Belief is an incredibly powerful thing, and I think that if you look, you'll find that people that have been able to believe something can do what is seemingly impossible, while at the same time those that believe that they cannot find an obstacle at every turn. I do not like to use this old adage about belief, but it is very much an important reference here. I too am a bit disappointed then in the fact that you have already decided that such a skill is an impossibility, or a highly difficult one. I will tell you why something is difficult or not difficult, and it is quite basically how much attention you are able to give it, how much focus of attention you have. You can quite literally do anything in this world that you want, as long as you can focus your attention long enough on that one outcome. The techniques that I discuss in my books, and in some of my articles, are all possible if only you are willing to dedicate the time and effort, by which I mean the prolonged focus of attention. Yes, it is possible that for some people these techniques will take longer than others, this is a fact. There are also others that will run into beliefs as they focus their attention, in the same way that you have run into this belief that such skills are outliers, that they are difficult, and that they are for the few. And faced with those negative or counter beliefs, many will give up. But some will continue and will face those beliefs, change them, and continue with their focus on what they want. That is the only difference between those that get something done and those that are willing to believe what the world at large is telling them they can't do, instead of what they can if they will just try, by just deliberately focusing their unwavering attention on what they want. I have faith that you can do this, or I would not write these books for people just like you. I hope your faith in yourself grows over time as well. This faith in yourself will only grow over time, as you focus your attention, and overcome the seeming impossible, so start deliberately focusing your attention now. If you would like to know more about what the focus of attention can do, then I recommend my book, The Way of the Projectionist. I would also recommend checking out my website, at johnkreiter.com. There you will find many articles, and comments with my answers. And you may find the solution to questions that you might have had on these topics, and many others.